Bestie, have you ever noticed that some people radiate positivity no matter what life throws at them? Like maybe they've been through hardships, yet they still find things to be thankful for. And then you know these people. There are others who, no matter how much they have, always seem unhappy. Well, what if I told you that the difference isn't just personality? What if I told you that it's gratitude? I honestly believe that gratitude is a superpower. If you know anything about me, if you've been listening for a bit, you know that I dealt with years and years, 9 years specifically, of infertility. You know that my husband has had an affair. You know that I have been through difficult things in my life. And the way that I got through is gratitude. Now, I want you to hear me. I have very distinct moments of feeling grief and anguish and significant pain in my life. And gratitude shifted everything for me. No matter what I was going through, hard stuff, by the way, no matter what I was going through, I forced myself to find gratitude in my situation, circumstance, whatever it was. I internally wanted to believe that I would have children. I have a whole episode on that. From my womb, God gave me a beautiful baby from adoption and made me a mom. But at that time, I didn't know that I was going to be a mom. I had so many wrestlings internally, and I had to find gratitude in my life. I had to go, all right, well, even if it never happens, I'm going to be grateful for this, and this in my life. I am going to find gratitude. I developed a practice of gratitude in my life. I'm going to talk about that. So I want you to just really begin to frame your own mind that gratitude is actually a superpower that you have the ability, friend, to tap into if you choose to, which, by the way, I hope you do. So gratitude is more than just saying thank you. It's actually a transformational mindset shift. There we go. I'll put my words together. No, the science behind gratitude and its effect on mental health also leads to emotional resilience and greater relationships. So I want you to really think about that the things that I'm sharing with you today that research supports, it's not just Dr. Britt's brain, it is from research. And we're also going to talk about how to start building gratitude as a daily habit. So first, let's talk about why gratitude is important. I mean, I can listen to you. I can hear you over there, and I can hear you saying, it's like, okay, Brittany, like that's nice. Gratitude's nice, okay, but like you don't know what I've been through. Well, I want you to really think about that. Gratitude is a life orientation towards the positive. Gratitude isn't about being polite, although maybe that's a part of it. It's really about a way of seeing the world that shifts your entire life experience. I'm going to share a story with you in a minute that talks about this. Research also shows that people who practice gratitude have a more positive emotional outlook and are more resilient in the face of challenges. Friend, if you haven't experienced awful things happen in your life, things that you needed to dig down deep for, I hate to break it to you, but you will. And if you have, which I'm betting that you have, I mean, you're probably not 2 years old listening to this. You are a grown human that has had life happen to you and therefore needed to be resilient, needed to dig deep, needed to have something that you looked back and said, man, I am so grateful that that happened. I have two stories that I want to share with you. The first is about, and I am going to do an episode on this. I just haven't yet. The first is about my husband's affair. And I can't even begin to tell you what that was like in my life, the pain, the hurt, the devastation, the betrayal, the just suck of all of it. It sucked so much. And I look back now, and I had to find gratitude in the middle of it, but I also look back now and I go, well, it had to happen. It had to happen in order for all of these other things to happen. I can't tell you how many times I said to God, I wish that there was another way. I wish there had been another way. And I look back and I go, there was no other way. And I feel gratitude for it now. I feel gratitude for where we are now. I feel gratitude for the way that I had to grow, the way I again learned my own internal resources as a result of that. Today I was working with a client, and I just love her. She's a beautiful, and I mean beautiful like as a person. She's beautiful also, but she's beautiful as a person. And we were talking about this instance that happened with her husband. She flew in, and he brought her these flowers, and they were like crusty and old, and they were clearance flowers, and it's still with the big bright like yellow orange clearance sticker on it. And she made the meaning of that basically what he was saying to her was, and she's worth crusty clearance flowers. And this wonderful woman is high in producer, which means that she is very fiscally responsible, had even told him before, don't waste money spending, don't waste your money buying me flowers. And so I go, all right, so your husband was wanting to do, and it the meaning that she made of it was just that, I mean, she wasn't important to him really. Like, he couldn't even go through the effort to either get her nice flowers or at least make them look beautiful. And it had the opposite effect of what I know that he was intending for it to have. And I was like, well, how cute is it really that your husband was rushing to get to you and was like, you know what? Let me stop and get my wife some flowers. But I know that she has told me not to spend money on flowers. So I'm going to do the fiscally responsible thing, and I am going to get her clearance flowers. And he wanted to show up with I'm thinking about you. And it is a tiny perspective shift. Same situation. Nothing's changed about the situation. The only thing that changed is the perspective. It is all perspective. That when we were talking about it, I was like, see, like, what wouldn't it be better? Wouldn't it be better if you looked at the world through this lens? Wouldn't it be better if you said, man, like, that's so cute that he did this for me. And I'm so grateful that he thought of me and bought me these, oh my goodness, awful flowers. But he thought of me. And I feel so grateful that he thought of me. And that actually gets to dictate your experience of life, because again, same situation, I can either feel like I'm worth the clearance flowers, and that's how he sees me, obviously. And also that's going to dictate how I feel about myself, my situation, my marriage, all of those things. Or I can go, oh, it's cute. Oh man, that was a total miss. And it was really cute that he was trying to tell me he was thinking about me, and also honor that I think flowers are a waste of money, So anyways, I want you to really see the power of mindset. It is a life orientation towards the positive. You get that, right? So there's this other part though of gratitude, that it has mental health benefits. So those who express gratitude regularly have lower levels of depression, anxiety, PTSD, and emotional distress. That seems important, right? Studies also indicate that gratitude significantly lowers the risk of mental health disorders. So, not only do you have less of these, but it also lowers the risk of it. This is important, right? The more that we express gratitude, the more that we exhibit this in our life, the more that we tap into it, the less mental health issues we are going to have. I think about my infertility journey. That was one of the first. I've had other difficult things happen in high school, but as like a grown adult, it's like and really dealing with infertility was one of the worst times of my life. And I think about how I could have been insanely anxious, so depressed. And please hear me, I had moments of just massive grief. Okay. So I'm not trying to tell you in any, I can think of a time very specifically where I was curled up in a ball in the closet, hugging this giant lamb that I bought for my future baby and sobbing, like gross, snotty sobbing. So I don't want to tell you that I don't want it to seem like I have never had pain in my life, because that would be a freaking lie, and a distortion of the truth. The truth is, I've had so much pain, and I swear my superpower to get through it is gratitude. The reason that I believe that I didn't dip into a depression, I wasn't crazy, overly anxious. I did have anxious moments. I did have fear. I did have those things, and they were short lived because gratitude. You know, I want you to think about too that gratitude actually impacts your relationships with others. That people that are consistently grateful are perceived as warmer, more trustworthy, altruistic, emotionally open. Can you think about the kind of relationships that someone who is warm and trustworthy and altruistic and emotionally open is going to have in their life? Well, we don't have to think about this too long. They're going to have a great relationship. Maybe not just romantically, but also with friendships. Relationships thrive when gratitude is present. When it's present, it's in the present. It doesn't matter what relationships they are. Again, it could be friends, marriage, work. It doesn't matter. When we have gratitude, our relationships thrive. I was thinking tonight, uh, me and Josh were team working some things, and I was just thinking about how grateful I am that he's such a great teammate. Like, he's my lover, but he's also my teammate. And I have so much gratitude for that. And it makes our marriage better. It makes our marriage better. And then, I think about, there hasn't been as much, I want to say this, there hasn't been as much research. It needs to happen on the links between gratitude and health. I could definitely build my own bridges here. But I just want to point to those who have gratitude have better sleep, because often those who are expressing gratitude have quality thoughts, quality positive thoughts before bedtime, that they are really thinking about what they're grateful for in their life, and it's linked to better rest and improved mood rather than poor sleep quality. And by the way, I can start building a bridge here. The better you sleep, the healthier physically, mentally that you are in your life, and so on and so forth. So, and maybe I just didn't see the research, but more needs to be done for sure. That I'm telling you that you're going to be overall healthier. And there is so much work about the mind body connection. There's so much work about the mind body connection, that people that actually store negative emotions in their body have physical pains, have just difficult stuff happening in their body. Sometimes it's very unexplained, or doctors try to explain it, but whatever they're doing for it doesn't quote unquote fix it, because it's actually linked to negative emotion. The more that you have gratitude, I'm telling you, the healthier that you are going to be. Now, I've told you so much about gratitude. I've told you even why it's important, why you should even care about this. But I want to be even more clear. I want to hone this in even better. That gratitude is not about ignoring hardships and pretending that everything is perfect. Gratitude is about shifting focus toward what is good and meaningful, even in difficult moments. It is a life orientation towards the positive. It is recognizing both the big things and the small things, whether it's people in your life, a moment of kindness, or even a simple cup of coffee on a tough morning, or the fact that you have a roof over your head, or whatever it is. Gratitude is a life orientation towards the positive. I cannot uh, hug that into you more than I am right now. It is a life orientation towards the positive. Now, how do you build gratitude into your life? Well, research actually talks about the power of writing things down. Typing is not the same. Using your thumbs on your phone is not the same, even though it's nice and even though it's convenient. And by the way, typing on your computer, thumbs on your phone is better than nothing, okay? But if you want to up the ante, make a gratitude list. Every day, write down 3 to 5 things that you are grateful for. 3 to 5. This small habit will rewire your brain to focus on the positive. You know, um, then there's just grateful contemplation, grateful meditation. No, this is a particular practice that I have in my own life. When I roll over and I close my eyes and I'm laying there, I am drifting to sleep, thinking about the things that I was grateful for that day. Now, and by the way, something cool happens with your brain waves. They shift brain waves, and it actually helps things get more into your unconscious mind, which is super cool. But when you meditate on something, you begin to feel it deeply. It can shift your mood. I think about tonight, my little dude, man, he has had lots of sickness lately, and right now he's just got this massive rash on his little bum, on my little guy. And he woke up from sleep, and I went in and I was holding him and just holding him because he's my little miracle. And I'm just holding him. And by the way, my daughter's my miracle also. She's just a different one. He's my little one. And I'm holding him and I'm rocking him and I'm looking at him and I'm just thinking about how grateful I am for him. And he's crying and he's upset. And I'm just holding him, grateful that I get to hold him, grateful that mommy gets to be the one to soothe him, grateful that even though my body is having a biological response to his tears, to his cries, that I get to be the one that settles him, that it's a gift. It's a gift to me. And I could, think about, oh, I needed to do this thing and this is annoying and why can't he just go to sleep? And gosh, but gratitude shifts all of it. I think about when he wakes me up in the middle of the night, and it doesn't happen as often. He's trained me to sleep through the night. So when it does, it's a little bit more jolting. And whenever he wakes me up in the night, I go into his room and I hold him. And I am just sitting there and I'm grateful and I'm thanking God. And I'm just being thankful that I have this baby that woke me up in the middle of the night that I get to hold and soothe and care for. And he's never going to be this age again. And that these baby snuggles are just everything. And there's a power of meditation. I find myself in gratitude all throughout the day because this has become such a practice for me. And I can tell you, friend, and please hear me, I'm not trying to be judgmental of anyone that struggles with this, but I will tell you, I have so oriented my brain to the positive that's in my life that my experience of the negative is often very short lived, besides the fact that I play a game. I've talked about it before. So it's so powerful, just this contemplation, this meditation, because meditation is just simply a focus on something. Now, you can do this very directly, by the way. You can close your eyes and you can think about it and you can really be in that moment. Tony Robbins actually does one of my, he calls it priming. And he has a whole thing on YouTube and you can do priming. I'll put a link in my show notes. I love priming so much. I don't do it every day, but it is an often practice for me. So you can do this thing, you can prime, which is really, it's a breathing practice. And, he pulls from all of these different like feelings that you could have, but in terms of thinking very specifically about gratitude, I love when you're thinking about these feelings, he has you reach out and grab it and pull it into your heart and really feel those feelings of that moment. And can you imagine how your mood, how your state would shift if you were to practice meditating on feeling the feelings of whatever that moment is? And a lot of times it's really easy to go to big ones, a baby's born, you get married, you meet the love of your life, you go on an awesome trip, you buy the house, whatever it is. And you can also really start to stack. And that it's called anchoring. I don't know. I could talk about anchoring for a while, but you really start to stack these emotions and you reach out, you pull it into your heart. And it's like every time you touch that place on your chest, it's an anchor for what's good in your life. Because friend, you have so much of it. I remember if you've ever been to a third world country, if you've ever been on something like a mission trip or things like that, man, I'll never forget. I was 18-ish, and there were these little cute people, little tiny humans running around a dump, laughing, playing, and I'll tell you that'll put something in perspective for you to make you grateful for what you have. We have so much to be grateful for. And when you meditate on what you're grateful for, I'm really hoping you get this superpower thing. You change your experience of life, friend. Meditate on it, contemplate on it, exist in it. If you're negative, make yourself find 3 to 5 things you're grateful for. If you have a propensity to this, again, I am not judging you. If you have a propensity to this, freaking get in a practice of making yourself find 3 to 5 things that you're grateful for every time you experience negative. Do it. Every time your husband ignores you, 3 to 5 positives, things that you're grateful for about him. Every time your kids drive you up a wall, 3 to 5 things you're grateful for. Every time your boss acts like a jackhole, 3 to 5 things that you're grateful for. Every time. Can you imagine? I mean, this is like mental tennis. But guess what? You get good at this, and you're like the Serena Williams of gratitude. That's like, oh, there it is, and back. And I'm hitting it back because, this is the state and this is the place that I'm going to stay in. Friend, I'm hoping that you really get the power of this. It is a superpower. Now, you can also have behavioral expressions of gratitude. Writing letters, sending texts, verbally expressing, doing something nice for someone, showing up with a present, like just because, just being the kind of friend that you want to have, being the kind of spouse that you want to have, being the kind of human that you want to have. And it doesn't take these big, massive things, but there is so much power in just behaviorally expressing your gratitude. And by the way, when you do it, when you say it, when you follow through on it, it gets it deeper into your neurology. You want that, right? You want to have this superpower shift in your life, right? Better be saying right over there. All right. Now, I want you to think about another tactic for gratitude. The superpower is really reframing the challenges that happen in your life. I have a friend. She's actually been on this podcast, Dr. Krista. And in the midst of my infertility stuff, she said, she goes, I don't know, and so much empathy and love. She was like, Brittany, I don't know why you're dealing with this. Like, I don't know why you're going through this. And what's God teaching you? Our circumstances can be reframed. What's God teaching me? What is this teaching me? How can I grow from this? It's powerful. It's powerful. How can I grow from this? Because what it does is it changes your perspective from frustration, from pain, from hurt, from disappointment, and it points it a different direction. And by the way, when you drive, that's where you look, that's where your car goes. So you need to remember that if you are focused on gratitude, things are going to shift for you. They can't not. They have to, because it's a shift in your neurology. Then I mentioned this earlier, but at nighttime, replay the positives, the good things that happened in your day. Those little moments. They don't have to be big. They can be little. Practice finding the littles. Drift off to sleep. And if you're struggling and you're like, Brittany, for real, Dr. Britt, here's the deal. I'm struggling. By the way, if you say can't, you won't be able to. So if you're like, I'm working on this, I'm growing this muscle, this brain muscle of gratitude, that sometimes maybe you need to go back to other positive things that happened in your life and dwell on those, drifting off to sleep. Now, I'm aware that if you're dealing with a lot of negative in your life and then you think about the things that are positive, that sometimes it can also bring you back to the negative, because it's like, well, that doesn't exist in my life right now. Guess what? And then you go back to the gratitude and it's like, well, if I can have it, then I can have it again. All right. So if I can have it there, I can have it here. That wherever you are is not the final step. Whatever that is, find gratitude where you're at. And I recognize that this is hard. I mean, can you imagine trying to find gratitude for my life in the middle of an affair and infertility? Goodness. You can do it. Now, I just want to have you ask yourself some questions. Pause where we're at, or pull over on the side of the road, or write them down. Come back to them later. They're always in the show notes. First question: what are 3 things I'm grateful for today that I usually overlook? Second, how has my mindset about gratitude been shaped by my past experiences? Friend, do some self exploration. Learn you, okay? 3, what is one difficult situation in my life that I can try reframing with gratitude? 4, how do I feel when I'm around people who express gratitude versus those who don't? And 5, what is one way I can express gratitude to someone in my life today? If you want to make this change in your life, you have to take action on it. So friend, I'm really hoping that you have access to the super power of gratitude, that you can shift your entire life. Hear me. You can shift your entire life by practicing gratitude on a regular basis. Maybe you need to set alarms on your phone. I don't know. Practice gratitude, change your life, change people's experience of you. I don't know about you, but I don't want to be negative Nancy that nobody wants around. I want to be positive Patty. I want to be gratitude Gertrude. That, oh man, Gertrude. I want to be gratitude Gertrude that people want around, that they're like, man, it feels so good to be around Dr. Britt or Brittany, It feels so good to be around her because she expresses gratitude. There's positivity that exists in her life. She has a life orientation towards the positive. Friend, commit with me to have a life orientation towards the positive. Let's practice this together. So come be friends with me in the Besties group. Like, I want to get to know you. Share this episode. I bet that you know someone who needs to hear this. Share this episode. And until next week, I will talk to you later.